Hey guys, Aaron here. We're at the Bromley store today and we're going to speak to Matt, who is the manager, who is going to take us through his, frankly, insane physical media movie collection. Let's go and have a word with him. Matt, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Nice to see you. I heard you've got a fantastic physical media collection that you want to show us.
That is true.
Let's go. Let's see it.
Let's go. Here we are.
Oh my goodness. This is nuts. Holy heck, man. This is like what, and over there.
Yes.
And there. Man, this is incredible. I've never seen, I thought I had a lot of movies. How many movies roughly do we have? Like movies, TV shows, like everything?
It's roughly about 5,000, 6,000. Yeah.
5,000?
Yeah, yeah. Each shelf has roughly a few hundred on them.
Wow.
And it's 2 rows deep.
Yeah, these are all like double or triple deep. Like most of these. And they're all in their own protective cases as well, which is that is an extra level of nerd, which I absolutely appreciate. I've never gotten around to putting mine in the bags. So like, how did this start exactly? Was it that you decided you were going to become a collector of physical media, or was it specifically a collector of horror or that kind of genre? Like what really sort of kicked it off?
So when I was younger, I grew up in a home where my family had like a wall VHS.
Yeah.
You know, we rented a lot. Grew up in the 90s. It was a very popular thing to do at the time.
Yeah.
And I watched a lot of like Ray Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien with like King Kong.
The classics.
Yeah, as well as also, you know, Japanese Godzilla films and that kind of sort of thing. So giant monsters.
Yeah.
As well as also when I was growing up, there was a lot of this sort of merge between children's entertainment and horror. Shows like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And a lot of the toy lines and the video games that were coming out at the time just had a big influence on me.
Yeah, yeah.
So when I got a little bit older, so like a young teenager, I then started seeing things like Hellraiser, Evil Dead, and I just kind of expanded on that.
Yeah.
Really.
It was kind of insane, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, because I remember that in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get it nowadays where like, you know, a film, something like RoboCop that came out that was ultra violent and like, like really disturbing.
Yeah.
But then it's like, hey kids, buy the toys of RoboCop.
Yes.
RoboCop and the Ultra Police, the only cops with rapid repeat cap firing.
He's unstoppable.
So what would you say out of all of this that is probably, and it's probably hard to say, the rarest thing in the collection, or maybe like the jewel of the collection?
Well, I have Nightbreed, the Cabal cut. This is very rare. Very, very rare.
What's this, Nightbreed?
Yeah, the Cabal cut. Essentially, this is a cut that was never released in cinema. And I've got it signed by one of the actors.
Yeah.
And this was very limited. So the slipcover was limited to about 500. And I think this only had like 1,000 copies, the
Wow.
Blu-ray. So last time I saw one of these on eBay, it was a few £1,000 just for this. So very lucky to own that. I've also got a Mexican steelbook edition of Evil Dead 2.
Oh, nice.
And it's got like a little bloody kind of sort of blood bag thing going on.
Yeah, yeah.
I've only ever seen this pop up on eBay once. This is German DVD of the original Evil Dead. This is limited to 2,500.
And that's got the kind of leathery, rubbery.
And it's got like embossed.
Ah, that's so cool.
I got very lucky and got this for £80 off eBay. And last time I saw one of these, this was going for a few £1,000.
Wow.
It's incredibly hard to find. This here is actually from the third Predator film. This is actually taken off set. This was actually part of the set that was taken off. Yeah, I used to work with a guy that worked on the film.
And I don't know what's going. What's this down here? These Japanese films.
So these
are
Godzilla films.
Ah, right.
So yeah. So these are from Japan. These are Japanese versions of them, and secretly behind them, if I pull out a few in one go, you can see that there's even more Godzilla and kaiju related stuff behind.
I noticed one of my favourites here that I watch every year on my birthday with my wife is Krampus,
Yes.
which is a hugely underrated Christmas horror film. It's fantastic. If you like Gremlins / Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
Matt, thanks for showing us around your home and your collection. This is enviable. Like, this is insane. I would love to have a quarter of this. But for now, let's take some of your movie choices and head back to the Bromley store and check them out in the experience room.
Excellent. Sounds like a great idea.
Where are they? Go grab them. So we're in the Bromley experience room with Matt, and we're going to check out some movies that he's brought for us. And just want to talk us through what we're going to be watching some of these clips on in here.
Yeah, so we've got a 5.1.4 Dolby Atmos setup down here.
Cool.
We use monitor audio speakers connected to an AV receiver. We've got a 4K player as well down here. And we've got a lovely 77-inch Samsung OLED. We're going to be watching the content on.
Nice. Let's get to it. What's the first movie that you brought for us?
So the first one, I thought we would go with an original Psycho from 1960.
Cue violins.
Yeah. So this is actually a 4K release. I brought this with me because it's a black and white movie, and one of the things that a lot of people don't realise is that movies like this do get 4K treatment. So it's a native 4K, it has HDR. It doesn't have Atmos, unfortunately, but it's got a nice 7.1.
Yeah. Oh, so it's got like an original mono soundtrack.
Exactly.
And then they've upscaled, they've upconverted it. And what do you are you a purist? Are you going with watching it back with the original mono soundtrack, or do you not mind the upconverted kind of 7.1 mix?
I do tend to watch the original audio that was intended, so I do watch like a lot of mono tracks or stereo tracks, especially from like older films. We didn't really get surround sound until sort of mid to late 90s.
Yeah. So I think, personally, I don't know how you feel, I think one of the big deals, like you say, with the black and white really stands out with the 4K and the HDR. But I think one of the biggest mistakes a film studio makes is like getting rid of like grain.
Yes.
So it's like, what do you think, especially with a film like Psycho that's so vivid, what kind of most appeals to you about, you know, the 4K, the HDR side of things?
Sure. So for me, I am a bit of a purist. I don't really like my restores of films to be tweaked too much.
Yeah.
I do prefer original film grain. You know, film is made up with loads of magnetic particles that reflect off light, and that's how you get that grain structure. And when you remove that, you remove the detail.
It's what gives it life.
Yes,
exactly. It's literally moving in the image. The rain as well is like...
Yes, it really stands out. All previous releases, I mean, this is a movie that I've watched for many years, and I've gone from different formats over the years.
Yeah.
So going from, you know, DVD to Blu-ray and then into 4K, the 4K really brought that detail out. You can see every drop of water that's on the screen.
It's not just a blur all of a sudden. Like
it's literally pinpoint, sharp, which really stood out in the film, and that's what really impressed me when I watched it for the first time on 4K. And HDR really helps with that. Yeah. So it really brings out the intricate details that were lost on previous formats. So shadow details, the infamous shower scene where you have the silhouette, that's really more refined now. So, you know, it really makes the movie a whole new experience. It's like if you're watching it for the first time again. Yeah. I really can't emphasize how much that I just was blown away with the technology that we've got now. Yeah. And how old the film is and how those two things came together.
It's great.
Yeah. You know, and then you have OLED technology with each individual pixel have its own LED light. Those black levels really stand out.
Awesome, thanks for that, Matt. What have you got for movie number 2?
Movie number 2, I've gone with the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice. And what was it that drew you to this one?
This is a film that was done on 16mm.
Yeah.
But it's been given the Dolby Vision treatment and Dolby Atmos treatment,
right,
which is very, very rare for an old film like this that is considered low budget and is filmed on 16mm. Yeah. So hearing sounds that I haven't heard before on the surround sound system was astonishing, as well as also that Dolby Vision being the the tip of the iceberg with the picture quality.
And it's still got the original mono soundtrack on there as well. If you want to
exactly, yeah. So if you want to be a purist like me sometimes and just want to stick with the mono track, you do have that as an option on there as well.
So like, are there any moments with it in Dolby Atmos that like particularly stand out as like, whoa,
Yeah, so the end scene where Leatherface is throwing around the chainsaw towards the end of the movie was particularly impressive.
Yeah.
It really throws the audio around the room, and when you have an Atmos system like we have in here with the monitor audio, ceiling speakers that have directional tweeters, really opens up that soundstage in that scene.
So you can actually focus the tweeters in on the
Yes.
seating position.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Let's give it a listen. So, like, are there any like other little sort of nuggets about the film itself?
Yeah, so essentially with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of the big misconceptions about this film is that it's super violent and that it's gory. And it's not very violent, not really. It's based upon suspense, the atmosphere, and the soundtrack. And I think that's why this got a Dolby Atmos treatment.
You're absolutely right. It is largely. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but even like spoilers, even the bit where like you don't see anything.
No.
It's that feeling of like, oh god, that's terrible. But there's a lot of really clever editing in there where you're not actually seeing what you think you're seeing.
Yeah.
And that's great. And that's where like getting the super duper special 4K treatment always just makes you appreciate this stuff even more, I think. So we've been looking at a couple of the more kind of mainstream, kind of not so much obvious ones, but well-loved kind of horror movies. What we're going to do now is check out some of the slightly more obscure movies that we've already seen back at Matt's house and look at them on the big screen. Cool, so those are just some of Matt's enormous collection of movies that he's shown us, of course, today. And thanks, Matt, for hosting.
Thank you so much for your time.
I hope
it's
been suitably nerdy and to your
Yes,
taste.
it's been absolutely fantastic. I've really had a good
Keep
day.
collecting, man. Keep collecting. You need to keep the format alive.
Yes.
This is also what we want to say to like other people watching as well. Like, we're going to do more of these, and we're going to sort of showcase some other colleagues who've got interest in other things like vinyl and CDs and things. And let us know in the comments what you think about these videos and what you might want to see from them in the future. But for now, Matt, thanks for the whole thing. Thanks for hosting us.
It's been amazing. I've had a great day.
Nice.